You may not believe this, but you may well have a musical instrument sitting in your workshop. In fact, about 35 people from as far away as Northern Ireland came to Disneyland this weekend, and they brought their tool chests with them. OC.
The Santa Ana resident is the world's first master of the saw, a name given to him by a Wisconsin music company that manufactures musical saws. The only instrument where you can both hear and feel both the sharps and flats.
And we were asked a lot of times, how do you know the sharps and the flats? Well, it's very simple. This is the flats on this side, and the sharps are over here on the tooth side, see? And all the rest of the notes are right down the middle.
Today, Jim's job is to write rules of saw playing and promote sawyers, as they're called. But he first got started back in 1975.
When I saw an article in the back of a magazine for the New Solomon Westfall musical saw, I sent away for one, and I've become an addict ever since. It's been with me ever since, and I enjoy playing it because it does draw attraction. You can play with any band you want. I play in rock bands, punk bands, and everything else with the kids with long hair and no shirts. And I steal the show from them every time.
Stealing the show at the Los Angeles Philharmonic is David Weiss. From 9 to 5, he's their principal oboe, but occasionally the resident sawyer.
Sometimes in my act, I will saw off a chair leg that's prepared too long before I sit down on the stage to play. That's an old gimmick that vaudeville saw players used back in the 1920s. This is actually off the hardware store shelf. It's a Stanley Handyman. So that when people come and see me and say, is that a real saw? I can honestly say, yes, it is.
So I spent the first nearly a year or so of my saw playing career actually playing a standard British-made Tyzac and Turner 26-inch crosscut saw, which is quite adequate.
Rock musician and composer Henry Dagg makes his living playing the saw. He discovered its unique high-pitched sound when a friend suggested he use it in a composition.
I ended up asking all sorts of people for their old saws, and none of them were any good. And I had to resort to going to a tool shop and looking around their entire range of new saws, and I eventually found one that was okay.
Now, playing the saw isn't as difficult as it looks. You just put it between your legs, take the saw, bend it back a little bit. It makes beautiful music.
Well, I guess that's better left up to the professionals. In Anaheim, Karen Kowalik, Orange County News Channel.
Now, at this year's Saw Festival, the musicians competed in several different categories, like Best Gospel, Jazz, and Classical Performance. And they hope to be back at Disneyland next year for more cutting-edge competition.
I am the producer and show director of today's event, tomorrow's event. And there's some other people, staff here, that I'd like to introduce you to. The first one I'd like to introduce you to, most of you have already met or talked to over the phone, and that is Lynn Music. And she is the event coordinator, and she's probably outside at the table. The second person that I'd like to introduce you to is the project manager, and he is in charge of getting all the paperwork together and that type of thing, and that is Kim Murphy, back here. The project supervisor, I don't see him in the room either, and he's probably out running around trying to get things coordinated. He supervises what's happening in the different areas, different rooms, and over in the park when you're there. His name is Greg Williams. You'll meet him a little later, and just a real helpful person. The production stage manager, somebody that will answer most of your questions, is Steve Baker, right here. And in charge of tabulation, which I'm sure you all those of you that are in competition will want to get to know real well is Darren Ulmer right back here. And the competition room stage manager, the person that will coordinate everything that's happening in that room and that you'll want to work closely with in the competition because the times are real close, is Roger Brooks right here. Nice guy, doesn't bite, but he'll kind of, hurry you along probably.
Neat drums.
Right. The competition room coordinator is Lisa Curtis, right back here, and she'll help you with your times. If you're confused about times or where you're supposed to be and that type of thing, she'll help you with that. And in the open mic room, in the workshop room, the coordinator for that will be Ben Goodman. Wonderful people, and we are here to help you and make this a great experience for you. So if we can do anything to make this a wonderful time for you, to make it something memorable, please feel free to ask us and let us help you. Great. And at this time, we've got some things that we want to let you know about, some things that are going to be happening, the day's events and tomorrow's events. So we're going to turn it over to Steve Baker.
Thank you, Jim. Since Lynn was out helping someone register, as she was introduced, let me introduce to you Lynn Music, who's standing there in the back hall. So that everyone knows basically what happens today, things are kind of tight along our schedule as far as competition goes. We were very pleased to see that so many of you are interested in the various categories for competition. The result is that you have filled the schedule up, and so in order to try to make it smooth and fair for everyone, I thought we could take a minute or so and kind of run down what we're looking at and making the rooms run very well so that you have a nice competition experience and so forth. This room here that we are in was initially scheduled to be our open mic room throughout the day, and because of the addition of the competition schedule, we decided that from the morning until noon, starting at 10:30, that we will run the gospel competition right here in this room, followed by a workshop at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock and another workshop at 1 o'clock, all of which is on your schedule there. And so, if you are in the gospel competition, then your performance room will be right here. If you are in any of the other performance categories, you're going to be at the other end of the hall. There's a sign at the other end of the room that shows for Coronado D. I suspect that some of you may like to warm up before you begin your performance. Right across the hall is the Avalon room, and you may have noticed the sign that says that's where a banquet will be later this evening. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But if you'd like to warm up before you come to do your competition, the B section of that room in the middle, just walk down the hall and turn left, is available to you. There should be chairs in there. There's no sound reinforcement and so forth, but it'll help you get warmed up and ready for your stuff before you get up on stage to do it. Time, as I said, is a little bit tight, so we have coordinated things so that there is a total of 8 minutes for you to complete all aspects of your competition performance. 6 minutes of that is actually... Anybody else? Any questions, concerns? Yes, sir, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, we've got a few dudettes back here free. I'm trying to clear up my closet. I'm getting ready to retire.
Jim has giveaways.
Yeah, giveaways.
So see him.
Patches and stuff for the Sawyers. Try to, just the Sawyers, please, not just everybody, because these are neat for your back of your jacket. And a bunch of stuff. The albums. Better talk to the owners. But the rest of stuff, come and get it. I want to get it out of it. I've got a bunch of T-shirts, too, that have Sawyers and stuff on it. I want to get rid of them, too, so there's both men and women. Please.
Sounds like Jim's the guy to see here sometime today if you want to get some of the good stuff.
It's a garage sale.
Ken Murphy, is there anything that you want to add to this? I think we're in good shape. Very well.
Okay, our first contestant this morning is Jenny Keller.
Well, I will be playing the Toreador song. And change that just a little bit, okay?
contender is Robert Reiner.
Morning, everyone. When it came time to decide on the classical competition, I guess that was a natural for me because that's my main interest when I play the saw. It seems to be the one that most amazes an audience. Anyway, and then I had the problem of deciding would I play Mozart, and Bizet, Fauré, Villalobos. I suppose that this being the 200th anniversary of Mozart's death, that would be an appropriate thing to do, but in light of the things that happened in Russia just a few weeks ago, I went with one of my favorite Russian composers, who is Rachmaninoff, who actually came to this country in 1917 to escape the first Russian Revolution. And what I've chosen to play today is one of his songs called Vocalese, which is Opus 34, number 14, and I'm going to be playing it today on the Craftsman hand saw.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm tempted to say Foyer da, because I'm actually Welsh, and that is the Welsh language, but I don't think I'd get very far. You wouldn't understand what I was talking about. So, I'd like to say how pleased I am to be here, and it's wonderful to be taking part in this amazing event. I'm going to play a short classical medley of airs from the British Isles. First is from Scotland. It's the Skyboat song, which tells of Bonnie Prince Charlie's escape from Scotland. The second is from England. You'll recognise it. This is Henry Yates' Greensleeves. The third one is a Welsh one. This is from where I come, and it's traditionally whistled by the farmhand, which is singularly appropriate for the saw. And the final one is from Dear Old Ireland, and it's The Last Rose of Summer. Thank you.
Star, Tannhauser, by Wagner.
I'm going to be playing two pieces. The first, a short one, is Mozart Sonata K311 and Joseph Haydn 7.
Bye.